Prima Rao, and I'm back in the Oslo office with Rich Bays to talk about the thing that's on everyone's mind now that we're getting back: how companies can optimize the workplace and help people connect. Hi, Rich. It's nice to see you again.
I know, it's been like so long. And like just being back in the office now in this new hybrid capacity, it gives me goosebumps feeling how like alive the building is. But obviously the world's gone hybrid, so it's a little bit different than it was before.
You've said the world's gone hybrid. Now we're just starting to get back to the office, and while working from home has gone really well for me, I do love my in-office days. But what can we expect from hybrid work in the hybrid workplace?
Definitely, like obviously, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, we went from like being in the office fully to now being fully remote. There were some challenges, we got through those challenges, but now this new world where we have to, bring the dynamicness of both remote people and people in the office together, it's going to be a much different story, right? Are you going to be a 2-day-a-week person, a 3-day-a-week person? What day will be in the office? We'd be fully remote. There's definitely some new challenges that arise, but I know we're up to the task to tackle these.
So that's something I've noticed I've missed since working from home, is the office just feels more alive. Are there some challenges working in the office that you could talk about?
Definitely. There's been a few frustrations about the physical workplace, and they existed before, but now I think there's even more. And obviously, with the new hybrid workplace, they've just been brought to the forefront. So one of the, just the other day, I'm late for meetings. It's really bad. That's not a good trait. But I was running in the hallway looking for an available room, and every room navigator was red. And I was like, okay. And I looked at one room, and it was empty. But it was red on the other. It was booked. I was like, can I take this room? I felt it felt a burden. Like if I take this room and then like someone comes and kicks me out, the whole meeting gets disrupted. It's not a great experience. But I think these are the new challenges that we have to now solve, because with the new hybrid workplace, every meeting has the potential to have someone remote. So you have to find rooms that have the technology.
So what do we have to consider for the office when it comes to a hybrid workforce?
Yes. So I think when it comes to a hybrid workforce in the hybrid workplace, we have to ensure that everyone feels represented. So it's not just about remote people feeling represented, that's super important, but also how people in the meeting room feel represented to remote as well. So when you're 3 people in a meeting room, you don't want people's voices being suppressed. You want the representation to be equal there. And the same for remote. If you have only one person remote, you want them to be included in the meeting. So for me, I have one critical aspect, is that no one should be disadvantaged for choosing where they want to work. And if we can nail that, then we can really maximize the potential in the office.
You've touched on remote workers feeling included, and as a manager, people's inclusion and well-being was priority 1 for me, and it took a lot of work when we all work from home. But I know you've done studied some research on this. Can you cover some of that? Yeah,
definitely. And I think, there's been a lot of studies around this, and we talked to a lot of customers to understand kind of like their pain points of the hybrid workplace. What we came out of that is that what we're trying to really solve here is a human-centric model. And that human-centric model, the outcome of that is human potential. So we're trying to maximize human potential. To do that, I think we can look at 2 pillars. One is the technology and one's the real estate. So technology needs to create meaningful connected experiences, not just locally, but also remote. And if you look at the real estate has to be flexible. It has to be adjust to the situation at the current moment in time. And if we can bring those 2 together, I think we can really maximize the human potential and productivity.
So you have talked to a customer who has really planned for a hybrid world. Can you talk us through that? I know you have a clip to show us.
Oh yes, just the other day when I went down and saw our customer Rebel, and they're a great customer and partner. They've been planning about the hybrid world for a long time, and seeing how they have now adapted their new building to adapt to the hybrid workforce and the hybrid workplace was just inspiring. But let's take a look.
Okay.
So Peter, it's great to be here, and it's great to be back in the city in a physical workplace again. And this is just an impressive building. So can you tell me a little bit about what is Rebel and what does it stand for?
Yes, Rebel is founded basically on the Norwegian tech communities, and they needed a place to be. So Rebel is built on the needs that they've seen on what kind of spaces do you need to collaborate, to share knowledge, to drive innovative processes, and to continue the good discussions after hours in the evenings, and for that matter in the weekends. So the building is designed by purpose to fulfill those needs, basically.
So obviously, you guys are even building, making this building come to life throughout the actual pandemic, and obviously COVID-19 has hit us. And how did that impact the changes now? Did you see an acceleration to the idea of hybrid work, and how is the building helping bringing communities back together?
Correct. Yes, we already rigged the building and the concept of Rebel around hybrid meeting places before the pandemic, but of course, it accelerated our thoughts on what we needed to do and how we wanted to partner with you in Cisco on how to make that experience much better than we knew before the pandemic, and for that matter during the pandemic. So we constantly tweak that to make it possible. No matter where you have a meetup, you can have technology to share this with someone else that is not present.
And I mean, that's the big thing, right? In the new future of the hybrid workplace is that making sure that the actual technology and the workplace can meet the needs of both the people here locally, but also don't alienate people who are remote at the same time.
Correct. And we have a concept that we talk about leaving no one behind. So there's no reason why we shouldn't include those who are sick or can't travel or don't want to travel for sustainability reasons.
No, that's super awesome, and I think it's definitely on the right path here. And why is the technology so important in this aspect?
Well, I think something that we've already started on a journey with you is to make these hybrid meetings, if not as good yet, but the ambition is to make those who participate remotely to make their experience just as good or even better than being face-to-face.
Yep, and I think that's the other part as well. Obviously, us at Cisco, we're looking at how we can expand our view more than just the meeting, but to the entire building. So you mentioned about lifelong learning and leaving no one behind. Can you expand a little bit more on that?
Yes, so we have 60 plus tech communities that meet in this building, and everyone is invited to join in the discussion or sit and learn. But in addition, we've also built an area in this building we call Rebel Campus, where we want to drive T-shaped learning. So both have broad introductory classes for different technologies that most of us maybe have only heard the buzzwords and don't understand, but also expert deep dives. And there we're really appreciative of the partnership because we've rigged these rooms with multi-cameras from the Cisco rig. And we've gotten extremely good feedback on how that includes participants from different countries and with different languages and everything else. So we want to expand on that as a part of leaving no one behind.
Hey Bjorn, it's great to see you again and great to be back here. We are in one of the most amazing rooms I've ever been in. It's from the outside coming in here, it's wow. But obviously every room here is really unique. So can you tell me a little bit about that? Why are they unique and what's important about that?
Well, I'm a theatre person myself. I'm a scenographer by training. So I know the importance of your surroundings to communicate what you need to communicate. So what we try to do in this building is to make very different rooms, very different surroundings so that it suits our clients, that people who come here and use our facilities. The thing is, technology changes so fast that so we can't be stuck. We have to be in better. But that means that we need to know where we're going. Because if you're constantly going to change, it's not going to help you if you don't know where you're going. And to know where we're going, we need to have constant feedback from the people using this space. So this is the room, the Back to the Future room, called Emmett, after the professor in Back to the Future. And can you guess why there's one red chair there?
I'm going to take a guess, and I'm assuming there's a vest.
There is a vest. There is a bubble vest, and there's Marty McFly's vest, and yeah, that's why we ended up with a red one. But it's also a symbol of rebel. You know, if you're gonna be a rebel, you have to have the guts and the courage to stand out. So this is a homage to Hedy Lamarr, another heroine. She was a film actress. and also a brilliant mind. So her work with the American military during the war, and her ideas of how to guide torpedoes is actually the front runner of the Wi-Fi system.
Okay.
So she's one of our heroes as well. So there's missing a few of her drawings and sketches for the system and operating. So that's coming in here. Our dream for this building is that when the users come here, they don't have to think about the technology. You know, they can just get into a room, do their thing, and they've chosen the room. Either it's SIGI room or a homage to LGBT communities. They can just get in there and get the job done. And we need that kind of technology that serves the sharing of knowledge and also the collaboration between them in all the rooms. So it doesn't really matter in this building where you are. You're always connected.
So we're down here in the open space where you do a lot of hybrid events. In your mind, like, you know, what's super critical to make a hybrid event work in this new world we live in?
That's an interesting question, isn't it? And I don't think we really have the answer to it, but I think we have a long way to go to reach our goal, which is to make a hybrid event as good as a physical meeting, you know? And that is going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot from us, the organizers. It's going to take a lot from the technology. But I think we're on the way, and I'm thinking the future is exciting.
Bjorn, it's been an absolute pleasure today to be here and talk to you and really see how you guys are bringing us back to the future in some ways.
That was a really cool hybrid office. But Rich, how can the Webex suite elevate it?
So with the Webex application and Webex devices, we can really bring the physical workplace to life. But one of the big frustrations from earlier is how do I find an available room or resource? And if I don't know where I'm going to be or others will be, how can we solve that?
Well, today we are excited to announce the ability to add a room from the Webex app so that hybrid worker will be able to reserve a room before they've even left the house. Let's take a sneak peek. When someone books you for a meeting, you may not know where you'll be that day, and the organizer may not know your preferred room. But now, in the Webex app, you can easily add a meeting room to any scheduled meeting in just a few clicks. Simply click on the Add a Room button in the meeting details. Search or select a nearby room. In my case, the Athena room is closest to my current location. We can see it's available, and once selected, all we have to do is click Add. It's that easy. The meeting room will be booked, and when you get there, you can join directly from the device with the help of Webex Assistant or one button to press on the Webex Room Navigator. In addition, in the app, there's information about the room you added, including capacity, location, and device type. Booking the right room for you is easy with Webex. So that solves a problem for the hybrid worker booking a meeting room. But how about reserving a desk?
So Prema, last year we announced hot desking for the Desk Hub. Now we're extending that across the entire desk portfolio, including our brand new desk devices. So with the Desk Hub here, we can put the phone on the device. We can now click a time to log in. And now we can see that the device is fully logged in, and my meetings that are currently happening are appearing on here, and I can join that like any other device we have.
That is really cool because I don't have a permanent desk at the office anymore.
Exactly. And on top of this, we can even extend this even further. So when we start looking at, for example, the Webex Assistant, accessibility is super important. Today, with Webex Assistant, you can book a meeting room and you can join a meeting. But now we are announcing the Webex Assistant Skills Platform, where we can extend this with hundreds of partners, for example, Lightwear, to ask them to lower the blinds in the space, or for example, at Space, where you can ask them to show the weather or maybe the bus times, so you can make sure you can make your bus to get home. I think this is going to be super awesome for all our customers and how they can really extend this beyond just the in-meeting experience.
So that's great for the meeting rooms, but how can we integrate this with the Cisco Smart Building solutions?
I am super excited to talk about this because it's not just about the Webex ecosystem, but the wider Cisco ecosystem. So with DNA Spaces and Meraki, we can take all the data from our devices, for example, the temperature, humidity, air quality, occupancy. we can feed this not just into our own platform, but into the DNA Spaces platform, where you can start looking at, for example, floor views. And the fourth floor today, we can see, from the lobby, we can see whether it's busy in this area, or maybe the cafeteria at 1 p.m. is less likely to be busy. So I can now start planning my day and make sure that the building works for me. And today, we're extending our partnership with AppSpace to allow customers to integrate into their everyday workflows. You can now access AppSpace directly in the Webex application by using our new Shortcuts feature. Updating employees in the latest corporate communications is critical. With Webex and AppSpace, this can be achieved directly in the AppSpace portal, all without leaving the context of the Webex application. Workspace resources are critical for productivity. Sometimes you'll need to reserve these in advance. With AppSpace, you're able to visualize the floor plan and see all potential possibilities, even before you leave home. When it comes to corporate signage, Webex and AppSpace allows customers to directly configure and manage signage in Webex Control Hub. Administrators can deploy to one or many devices in bulk. This ensures every employee is able to consume the latest information relevant to them wherever they are. Do you have a visitor coming to the office? With AppSpace, visitor management is easy for both the host and the attendee. Within seconds, you are able to create a visitor pass, making external meetings seamless. These are just some of the features which you can do with AppSpace in combination with Webex to extend functionality from the user's fingertips to the physical workplace. But on top of that, we're going one step further. With Maze Map, we can start powering wayfinding solutions. So we are now launching an ability on the device where you can load a QR code within a notification. You can scan that QR code, so you can be in the lobby of the building, getting towards the third floor meeting room, and you'll be directed the entire way there. So now you don't have to remember what the meeting room names are or where they're at, because every day here, I'm like, where's this meeting room? And so this is going to be massive, I think, for our customers to really drive that experience to the next level.
It's a great list of end user features, but what have you got for the admin?
Yeah, so this is great for the end user, but the admin is super important to us. And as we start looking at Control Hub, we can really bring all this information from the user's fingertips also to the admin's fingertips. For example, we can do management of hot desking. We can do, for example, configure hybrid calendars. We can do room booking and one button to press. But on top of that, we can start doing analytics. So now we can start seeing, for example, what locations where hot desking is super utilized, maybe where it's not. Maybe you need to do adoption material in the Oslo office because they haven't realized that hot desking is a feature that they can use. Where maybe your London office is using hot desking at 95% utilization. So I think this is super critical for the admins to be able to optimize the workplace to make sure they're meeting the needs for their users.
Thank you, Rich, for a really informative conversation about the hybrid workplace and how we can get those serendipitous conversations back into the office. I'm going to give it to you to round off.
Thank you, Prema. First of all, it's been an absolute pleasure being back in the office today and just showing all the customers these great features that are coming out soon. I really think these are going to really solve a lot of the problems that the hybrid workplace throws up. So I'm really excited to see how customers can take these features and implement them in their environments. But to round it off, I do have 3 little bullet points. One, you can go online and look at our virtual offices and take a tour and see how you can implement some of our functionality into your workplace. Second of all, we have Project Workplace, and Project Workplace is a great tool and insight where you can see the actual meeting rooms we have here in Oslo and in other Cisco locations and see how you can replicate those experiences in your own buildings. And finally, there's the collaboration how-to tips and tricks. And this is where we can see exactly how you can get adoption material to help push collaboration inside your workplace. I am super excited to see how you guys can really take these experiences and drive them forward. So thank you for your time and thank you for joining us today.